For millions of years, the safest thing an animal could do was disappear, blend into the grass, match the shadows, avoid being seen. But ancient humans made a completely different choice. Instead of hiding from predators, they killed them, skinned them, and wore their fur like trophies. And that decision may have changed humanity forever. Imagine waking up 40,000 years ago on a freezing Ice Age morning. The air burns your lungs. Frost covers the ground. Somewhere in the distance, wolves are howling. You don't have a house, you don't have a heater, you don't even have a proper coat. Yet somehow your ancestors survived in places where many animals struggled. How? The answer isn't just clothing. It's the strange moment when humans stopped relying on nature's protection and started creating their own. Because long before fashion existed, animal skin capes became something far more important than warmth. They became status, they became identity, and they transformed the human silhouette into something the world had never seen before. Before humans wore animal skin, survival often depended on staying unnoticed. Look at nature. Deer blend into forests. Rabbits disappear into dry grass. Countless animals survive because predators simply don't see them. If you had lived in prehistoric times, camouflage could mean the difference between life and death. But humans had a problem. Unlike many animals, we gradually lost most of our body hair. We became easier to spot, more vulnerable to cold, more exposed to the environment. At first glance, it sounds like an evolutionary mistake. But then humans did something unexpected. Instead of becoming better at hiding, they became better at hunting. And this is where the story takes a dark turn. Imagine standing face to face with a giant Ice Age predator, a massive wolf, a cave lion, a bear large enough to kill you with a single swipe. Most creatures would run. Humans began organizing hunts, working together, planning, tracking, setting traps. And when they succeeded, they didn't just take the meat. They took the skin. That might sound obvious today, but think about what that really meant. The hide of a predator wasn't just material, it was proof. Proof that someone had survived an encounter most creatures feared. Imagine approaching a prehistoric camp. You see one hunter wrapped in ordinary animal hide. Then you see another wearing the fur of a giant predator. Without saying a word, one person immediately looks more dangerous, more experienced, more respected. The clothing itself tells a story. And here is the strange part. The skin wasn't easy to use. Fresh hides were disgusting, bloody, heavy, stiff, covered in fat and tissue. Worst of all, they smelled terrible. If left untreated, they quickly rotted. Imagine carrying that smell everywhere you went. But ancient humans learned something remarkable. They developed methods to scrape, stretch, dry, smoke, and soften hides. The process could take days or even weeks. Knowledge became just as valuable as strength. The people who understood hides possessed a survival skill that could save entire families. But that wasn't the biggest breakthrough. The biggest breakthrough was surprisingly small. A needle. At some point, humans began crafting tiny needles from bone. Simple tools, yet revolutionary. Because wrapping a hide around your shoulders is one thing. Shaping it into fitted clothing is something completely different. Suddenly, garments could move with the body. Hunters could run more efficiently. People could stay warmer for longer. Communities could survive colder climates. And that changed everything. But the next development was even stranger. Once clothing became functional, it also became symbolic. Imagine living in a world where every piece of clothing advertises who you are. Every scar tells a story. Every fur has meaning. Every stitch signals skill. A carefully crafted animal skin cape became a prehistoric form of social armor. It didn't protect only against weather. It protected reputation. The moment people saw you, they formed an opinion. Strong hunter, experienced survivor, valuable member of the group. For perhaps the first time in history, humans could deliberately redesign how others perceived them. And that's a much bigger change than it sounds. Because animals are born looking the way nature decides. Humans became the species that could choose. Choose what to wear. Choose what message to send. Choose what identity to project. The human body was no longer the final product. It became a foundation, and clothing became an extension of the self. This may be why the first animal skin capes mattered so much. They marked a shift from biological survival to social survival, from hiding in nature to standing out within a community. And here is the truly fascinating part. That transformation never ended. Every military uniform, every luxury coat, every designer jacket, every graduation robe, all trace part of their story back to those prehistoric hides stretched beside ancient fires. The materials changed, the meaning remained. If you had lived during the Ice Age, would you have worn the skin of a dangerous predator to gain status, or stayed as unnoticed as possible to avoid attention? Let me know which choice you think would have kept you alive longer. If you enjoy exploring the strange survival decisions that shaped human history, consider subscribing. There are thousands of forgotten stories hidden in our past, and many of them are even more surprising than this one. And perhaps that's the most remarkable part of all. The first animal skin capes weren't simply clothing. They were a declaration, a signal that humans were no longer content to blend into the world around them. They wanted to reshape it. And maybe that same instinct still lives inside us today. Because sometimes the strangest truths about our ancestors reveal the deepest truths about ourselves.